Revealed, Maid's black daughter, a hidden genius, transforms lives as she masterfully translates. In the quiet, yet divided suburb of Maplewood, Maya stood out like a beacon. With a mother cleaning the homes of the wealthy, Maya learned to navigate a world that always seemed just out of reach. Her dreams bloomed in her heart, painting vibrant pictures of her future as a journalist. With a mind that effortlessly weaved languages, she dedicated her weekends to helping immigrant families cut through the bureaucratic red tape. She wasn't just a translator. She was their lifeline. When she spoke, hope danced in the air, and despair loomed just a little less heavy. Every Saturday, in a small community center, the air thick with the aroma of sizzling churros and the sweet smell of hope, Maya gathered with families who spoke little English. Their eyes lit up as she transformed their struggles into words, their dilemmas into solutions. Each smile was a tiny spark, igniting her purpose further. Helping these families made her heart swell, reminding her of the values her mother instilled in her: hard work, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family. But life in Maplewood was not without conflict. There was tension simmering just below the surface, a fierce divide created by rising economic inequality. With her modest apartment filled with laughter, simple joys, and that unmistakable love between mother and daughter, she felt it all weighing down with alarming urgency. "I just want you to be secure, Maya," her mother often said, fear flickering in her eyes. Maya understood, but her own aspirations tugged at her heart relentlessly. During a heated town hall meeting, she bore witness to the battle between her community's resilience and wealth's hypocrisy. Voices cried out for help, desperate and real, but the council members, cloaked in privilege, barely glanced at them, dismissive of the pain pouring from those striving to be heard. Maya's heart pounded as she saw prejudice in the eyes of those who should be stood for justice. Tentatively, she rose from the back, her voice shaky but powerful. "What about us?" she challenged, echoing the anguish of her people. At that moment, the crowd murmured, awakened. This was that she could be the change they so dearly craved. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With newfound recognition came an unsettling betrayal. A friend, once an unwavering support, exposed Maya's ambition and turned it against her. The very respect she fought to earn now felt like shackles. Maya stood amid the despair, wrestling with a painful choice: should she chase her dreams while potentially leaving her community behind? Her stomach twisted at the thought. As the town's mayor prepared to announce a decision that could either crush or lift their spirits, the air crackled with tension. Maya felt it all, the pressure building, the weight of her community's hopes. Would she risk it all? Could she channel her voice to bridge the divide between ambition and community? With a heart heavy yet fierce, she embraced the chaos around her, determined to ignite change. Facing the unknown, as the mayor raised his hand, Maya knew this was her moment, her crossroads of fate. She must move and inspire before the whisper of fate became a deafening shout. The tension was thick, and the stakes were higher than ever. Would she unlock the door to justice, or would her community's struggles drown her dreams before they even began? The mayor's hand hovered, a moment that stretched on like eternity. The crowd held its breath, every heartbeat echoing the weight of desperate hopes. In that charged atmosphere, Maya felt her insides twist tighter and tighter. She wasn't just one voice anymore. She was a multitude wrapped in skin, the dreams of everyone around her pulsing through her veins. "Today, we must address the growing concerns of our community," the mayor's voice cut through the silence. but it felt like ice. Each word hung heavy. He spoke of budgets, statistics, and external pressures, but the essence of their struggles seemed lost on him. Maya clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. "Stop!" The shout burst from somewhere in the crowd, a chorus of frustration erupting like fireworks on a tense night. Maya's heartbeat quickened as she recognized the voice Mrs. Rodriguez, a fierce advocate for the community. "You're making promises to empty chairs. We need action." The room buzzed. Agitation grew in waves, propelling Maya's spirit. This was the heartbeat of Maplewood, the collective urgency that flickered in each pair of eyes. Maya's heart raced as if it had finally found a rhythm. She took a hesitant step forward, her voice trembling but resolute. "We can't keep waiting for promises. We're here, and our needs are real." The reaction was electrifying. Heads turned, eyes widened, and for a moment the air shimmered with possibility. "Who are you to speak?" came the retort, laced with disdain from one of the council members. The dismissiveness stung, a familiar weight that had shadowed her for years. But she stood taller, piercing through the waves of doubt with the force of her determination. "I'm Maya, and I'm not just here for myself. I'm here for every mother who fears for her child's future, for every worker who struggles to make ends meet." The crowd stirred, voices rising to mingle with her plea. Maya could see it now. Distant glances shifted into engagement. Others began to murmur their own stories. Each shared struggle became a thread weaving them together, and she felt the fabric of a community forming right there, in that moment. The mayor paused, finally seeming to notice that the energy in the room had shifted. An almost hesitant awareness blossomed in his eyes, but still he held tight to the narrative he had prepared. "The council has resources we can allocate." Maya cut him off, urgency clawing at her insides. "But not without our voices. Not if you want to listen to us." The weight of her words echoed. There was a palpable tension. Everyone sensed it, like the calm before a storm. Then something incredible happened. One by one, people began to rise. Families stood up, trembling hands waving, spirits ignited. Each had something to say, a sacred truth that needed to be shared. Tears glinted in a mother's eyes. A father held his daughter close, hope shining brightly on his face. This was their moment, fueled by frustration but grounded in love. Maya felt her own voice break, but she pressed forward. "We deserve to be seen. We deserve a future where dreams are not just shadows." As the words poured from her heart, the energy intensified, igniting a passionate spark that seemed to light up the entire room. Would the mayor finally listen? Could her community rally in this moment of truth? But just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall. A familiar figure had burst through the door. It was Maya's friend who had betrayed her, a defiant look etched across his face. "You think this will change anything?" he shouted, a sneer tugging at his lips. Her pulse quickened. What was he planning? Maya felt an undercurrent surge through the crowd, tension coiling thicker than ever. All eyes turned toward the chaos. The confrontation had just begun. Would it derail everything she had fought for? The battle for her dreams and her community was far from over. Maya's heart sank, a stone in her chest. The crowd's energy shifted palpably. Her friend, Carlos, stood there, defiantly blocking the way, as if he held the power to unravel everything she and her community had built in that room. For a second, doubt crept in, weaving through the collective bravado. Anger tightened like a vice around her thoughts. "Carlos, what are you doing?" Her voice trembled, though she fought to keep it steady. She desperately wanted him to understand. This wasn't just about them anymore. It was about everyone in that room. He laughed, a bitter sound that cut through the tension. "You really think they'll listen to you? Look at this. A bunch of desperate faces waiting for crumbs." He gestured dismissively at the crowd, the fire in their eyes, the stories that were beginning to pile up, real stories, echoing generations of struggle and resilience. Maya could feel Mrs. Rodriguez's eyes on her, full of expectation. She needed to act, to counter his words. With each beat of her heart, she felt more certain. The stories wouldn't stop. They would echo louder than any sneer. Those desperate faces are filled with pride, Maya shouted, her voice rising like a phoenix. They carry the weight of this town. And we will not be silenced by someone who forgot where he came from. Every word felt like a spark, igniting the crowd once more. Some people began to shout, rallying around her. We want change. We deserve better. The hall filled with a daunting chorus of unity, a wall rising against Carlos's negativity. But Carlos smirked, unfazed. Unity? You mean a lot of noise? They will come for this. He pointed at the council members, and they all walk away with their heads raised, just like always. You think they all care about your little outburst? Maya stepped closer, her intent burning brighter than ever. This isn't just an outburst, it's a revolution. You can't drown out our voices, Carlos. We're done being afraid. She glanced around, seeing the determination on others' faces. This was not just her battle. They stood together, a tapestry of resistance. As painful memories of their struggles unfolded in whispered stories around her, something shifted. Those stories were no longer shadows. They were the light guiding them forward. Someone in the front row, a young girl with wide eyes, stood up. I'm scared. My mom works 2 jobs, just so I can go to school. We need help now. The girl's simple truth pierced through the air, hitting a raw nerve. Tears brimmed in Maya's eyes, but she stood firm, the emotion shifting from despair to purpose. Others began to speak, sharing their own fears, their challenges. Each voice mingled with the others, becoming part of a symphony of hope. See? Maya said, her heartbeat steadying with every word. It's about them. It's about all of us. We deserve action that lifts us, not just promises thrown like scraps. We will make them listen. That S when she noticed the mayor still standing there, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, he could feel their collective weight. For a moment, she wondered if she was actually getting through to him, or if Carlos's sarcasm had cemented the divide. And just as hope surged again, casting a bright, hopeful glow, Carlos leaned in closer to her, his voice low but razor-sharp. You really think they'll give you what you want? You think you've changed anything here? It won't matter. Trust me, it's all a game. Maya's stomach churned. Was it a game? Would they all go back to their lives, and this moment fade back into silence? Or had they truly created a crack in the facade that had kept them voiceless for so long? Before she could respond, a loud bang echoed again, and all eyes turned toward the entrance. This time, the doors flung open to reveal a line of community elders, each of them carrying the stories of the town's history. Their faces were lined with age and strength, their eyes fierce like embers refusing to die out. Maya realized the battle was shifting, her heart pounding with renewed hope and anxiety. If the elders were stepping in now, what did that mean for their struggle? What would they bring to the fight that had barely begun? Maya felt her pulse quicken again. The stakes were rising, and with the weight of possibility, she wondered if they were ready to face even greater challenges ahead. What revelations would the elders share, and would they lead the movement toward change or further complicate everything? The next chapter was dawn. There was no turning back. Would they ignite a flame strong enough to challenge everything? The elders took their places in a solemn line, their presence commanding respect and attention. Maya could feel the shift in the air, a subtle tremor of hope and uncertainty mixed with anticipation. She turned her gaze to Mrs. Rodriguez, who looked both proud and anxious, as if she sensed this was a pivotal moment in their fight. Thank you for having the courage to stand up, the eldest woman, Abuela Rosa, began. Her voice, both frail and powerful, carried across the hall like a warm breeze. I've waited many years to see our youth rise, to hear their voices strong and clear. Maya leaned into the sound, allowing her heart to swell. This was it. Finally, the elders were embracing their place in this movement. She caught Carlos's expression out of the corner of her eye. His arrogance appeared dimmer, his facade cracking. Too often we have sat in silence, believing that our stories held no power, Abuela Rosa continued. But those stories, they are our truth, and we must share them like a torch to light the way for future generations. The crowd began to draw in closer, intrigued by her words. Maya felt a surge of energy ripple through the room as several elders nodded in agreement, ready to contribute their voices to the growing chorus. One by one, they stepped forward, sharing tales from the past of hardship faced with resilience, of victories snatched from the jaws of defeat, of a community that had fought tooth and nail to survive. Maya's heart raced as each story unfolded, lit by laughter, tears, pain, and triumph. Then, a familiar voice broke through the haze of emotions. "I remember the day they tried to shut us down," said Carlos's mother, her eyes bright with defiance. "They thought we wouldn't fight back, that we'd just accept their lies." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd, with heads nodding. "Yeah," a voice piped from the audience. "We won't stay quiet anymore." Maya felt that spark ignite once more, a fire blazing stronger than before. Abuela Rosa told of their struggle to stay in school, how they had organized meetings just like this one years ago to demand equal rights. She reminded them that the spirit of rebellion wasn't just a youthful rage. It lived in the hearts of all who had walked this path before. "Your voices are the echoes of our past," she said, her intense gaze reaching Maya. "You are not alone. We stand with you." The crowd erupted in applause, an eruption of hope and renewed purpose. Carlos stood awkwardly at the back, uncertainty flickering across his face. Maya locked eyes with him, a moment of unspoken understanding. He had brought doubt, but they had turned it into determination. As the mood shifted, Maya felt a tender knot in her throat. She stepped up, the energy flowing like a river. "We can't go back to silence." "Right, everyone." The crowd roared in agreement, a pulse of strength reverberating throughout the room. "Let us make noise together," Maya exclaimed, raising her arms in unity. But just as the celebration began, a loud thud interrupted. The doors swung open again, and a figure stepped in, silhouetted against the blinding light from outside. The room held its breath. Was it someone from the council? Or worse, someone sent to quiet them? Maya's heart raced as she saw the unmistakable badge on the newcomer's chest, a council representative. It glinted ominously in the overhead lights. "What do they want?" the crowd whispered. Fear mixed with confusion. Maya stepped back, uncertainty creeping in once more. Would this new presence help their cause, or would it extinguish the fire they had just ignited? As the representative approached, all eyes turned, ready for whatever confrontation lay ahead. With the stakes at their highest, Maya felt the tension in the air thick and heavy. The moment felt critical. Was this the moment everything would change? Would they finally get the attention they so desperately needed, or would they face yet another barrier? The representative began to speak, and Maya leaned in, ready to hear words that could either uplift or shatter their fragile hope. What would be the true cost of their courage? The representative cleared his throat, the sound crisp in the hush that enveloped the room. Maya held her breath, desperately hoping for words that would align with the fervor they had built. "Ladies and gentlemen," the man started, his voice steady but lacking warmth. "I have come here today to address the concerns raised by this assembly. I'm here to remind you of the boundaries set by our council." Maya felt her heart sink as his words washed over her like cold water. The passion in the room began to waver, uncertainty creeping back in like an unwelcome guest. Boundaries? She thought, anger flaring up again. This was why they had gathered, why her friends and their families had poured their hearts into this fight, to push those boundaries further than they had ever been stretched before. The crowd began to murmur, voices rising softly as doubt mixed with defiance. Were they really going to let yet another representative talk down to them? Carlos looked unsettled, glancing around, as if searching for an ally in the tension. Maya didn't want to show fear. She wanted to embody the spirit they had shared just moments ago. While I appreciate your passion, continued the representative, we must remember to play within the rules established for the good of the community. His eyes scanned the crowd, picking up on their angst but not caring to soothe it. Protests and rallies have their place, but we cannot disrupt the peace of our town. Disrupt the peace? Maya thought, fury boiling underneath her skin. What about the peace that silence brings? She felt the energy shifting, the doubt trying to take hold. They fought too long for that spirit to be crushed. We're not here to cause trouble, interjected Mrs. Rodriguez, her voice rising above the din. We're here to seek change. The crowd erupted in agreement, the familiar sparks igniting once more. Maya felt a wave of hope return. It was as if a collective consciousness had sparked within them. The representative's words were just that, words. They didn't have to let them define their reality. But change doesn't happen overnight, the representative shot back with a dismissive wave. It's a slow process, one that requires compromise. Compromise? Shouted another voice from the back, a wiry teenager with energy that crackled. We've compromised long enough. This is our time. Maya's courage surged. We won't settle for silence anymore, she called. Our stories matter. They are our truth. The crowd picked up on her energy, a chorus of voices raised in agreement, pushing back against the authoritative tone of the representative. The man's expression morphed into irritation, but it only fueled their fiery resolve. The air thickened with conviction. Maya could feel the ground shift beneath her as the crowd rallied together. Yet, amid the surge of energy, doubt lingered in her gut. Would they really be heard? Or was this just another layer of smoke to obscure their vision? The representative seemed unrelenting, but Maya refused to let go of hope. Just then, in the back of the room, a young woman stood. Her demeanor was calm, with an aura of quiet strength. She raised her hand, drawing attention to herself in the pulsating sea of voices. What if we come together tomorrow? She suggested, voice steady and clear. What if we transform this from a rally to a community meeting, one where we're not just shouting, but sharing? Maya's heart raced at the thought. Would they take that step together? Could they turn this moment of crisis into something greater? As whispers filled the room, uncertainty clouding the minds of many, one question echoed internally within Maya. Was it finally time to unite and take their stories to the next level, or would they remain shackled by fear? The representative watched, his expression unreadable, as the tide of the crowd began to turn. It felt as if the very air shivered with possibility, heavy with the weight of choices yet to be made. Could this gathering be the spark they needed to ignite a greater change, or was it just another moment lost in history? Maya's heart pounded in her chest, a wild melody resonating with the pulse of the crowd. The idea of transforming their rally into a genuine community meeting lit a spark inside her. She scanned the faces around her, searching for a hint of agreement, a flicker of understanding. There it was, recognition in the eyes of some, even a few nods of encouragement from those who had been standing on the fringe of doubt. Let us do this, Maya shouted, and the energy in the room surged. Let us come together. We can create a space for everyone. A place to be heard. People began to murmur enthusiastically. Carlos stepped closer, his eyes wide, as if she were propelling a ship out of dock into uncharted waters. She's right, he said, his voice rising above the congregation. If we can share our stories, maybe we can find common ground. Maybe we can find solutions that work for all of us. From the back, the calm young woman spoke again, her voice steady yet forceful. Every voice matters. We need to listen to each other. We are more than just our struggles. We are a community rich with talent and ideas. The once monotonous air began to flicker with possibility, as if the weight of their fears had been lifted just the slightest bit. Maya felt hope surge through her veins. This was what they had come for, a chance to make their voices count, to tell their stories, not just to shout into the void. Mrs. Rodriguez stood up again, radiating her fiery spirit. I'm in. We can plan what this community meeting looks like together. I'll bring the food. Laughter rippled through the crowd, cutting through the lingering heaviness. It was as if the walls pressing against them began to crack. Real connection didn't always follow rules. It flowed freely, like laughter shared over meals. With each suggestion to make the meeting feel more inviting, something sweet and solid formed in the air. Maya couldn't help but smile as she listened to ideas bloom: potlucks, tables to share art, corners for storytelling. Would it work? Could this truly reach the hearts of the council and break their grip on fear? But alongside that rose the question, would their meeting fulfill the potential of this unified effort? With every hope came a shadow cast by uncertainty. What if their stories fell on deaf ears again? What if in their greatest moment of courage, they still met resistance? The representative observed the swell of excitement, his face tightening. He flipped through his notes, clearly flustered by the shift he couldn't control. It seems, he said, his tone laced with frustration, that you've all decided on your direction. But remember, change is hard. It takes diligence. It will not be easy. Nothing worth fighting forever is. Maya shot back, her voice ringing through the room with a strength that surprised even her. As soon as the words left her lips, the room held its breath. Their determination radiated off them like heat waves, drawing cheers and claps that seemed to echo in every crevice of the space. Yet, deep in her spirit, Maya felt an unease. What if the council turned their community meeting into another barrier? But fear couldn't overshadow her, not now. She looked amongst her friends and allies, cousins and neighbors, all standing together, ready to face whatever came next. Tomorrow, we speak our truth, she declared, and as the last words hung in the air, a thrill shot through the group. In that moment of high tension, a door creaked open in the back, revealing another figure stepping hesitantly into the room, carrying something bulky and covered. What was about to enter their space could change everything, or break their resolve. Maya squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of the figure that emerged from the shadows. The crowd's excitement was palpable, yet anxiety flickered beneath the surface, like water just below ice ready to shatter. Who was stepping into their moment of newfound hope? The figure took a few cautious steps forward, the enveloping cover shifting slightly to reveal a hint of color beneath a bright patchwork of fabric. The muffled whispers surrounded her, swirling like autumn leaves, as curiosity swept through the crowd. Maya felt her own heartbeat quicken. Each rhythmic thump echoed the urgency in her chest. "Who are you?" Carlos finally called out, breaking the spell of silence. The figure hesitated, breathing deeply before lifting her head to face the crowd. "I'm Jordan," she said, her voice strong and steady. There was an air of confidence in her manner that belied her initially cautious appearance. She finished her introduction, pulling away the fabric to unveil a large canvas topped with vibrant paint strokes, beautiful depictions of community life intertwined with struggle. Maya gasped softly, entranced. Jordan might have just stepped from the heart of the stories they all longed to tell, colored zeal leaping off the canvas as if it were alive. "I want to help," Jordan continued, the energy in her voice crackling with determination. "I've seen how our stories can be told through art. I've seen how they can connect us, ignite change." Maya felt her heart lift further. This wasn't just a meeting. It was a gathering of potential, a canvas waiting for brilliant strokes of collaboration. The crowd murmured their approval, swept up in the power of possibility and expression. Jordan walked closer to them, and Maya could see the passion in her eyes. Art has the ability to give voice to the voiceless. It can reflect our pain and our joy. Together we can do this. Let us create installations for the meeting. Each contribution a thread woven into our collective tapestry. Laughter bubbled among the crowd, chaos mixing with creativity. Lively discussions erupted. Ideas poured forth about murals, performances, even a community quilt symbolizing their unity. The room, once charged with anxiety, now hummed with excitement, a melody of hope finding harmony. But among the buzz, a shadow crossed Maya's face. Fear lingered in the corners of her mind. What if their plans were met with more resistance? What if the council dismissed their progress as naive optimism? As if sensing her unease, Jordan paused and met Maya's gaze. "Trust me," Jordan said, "this is the beginning. We cannot let fear anchor us. We rise by lifting each other. Our stories, your voices, they are powerful." Maya nodded, encouraged by Jordan's resolve. Yet, an unfamiliar weight pressed against her chest. Could they truly find a way to make their community meeting a beacon of change? The stakes felt higher than ever. Suddenly, the doors swung open wide again, and in walked a group of people, faces familiar and warm, from children to elders, each carrying items with excitement bubbling beneath the surface. They had heard the call, and now they came, eager to share in the creation of something beautiful. Maya took a calming breath, her determination rekindling. "Let us do this," she murmured, directing her words toward Jordan and the others. "Let us create something unforgettable." As the gathering erupted into a frenzy of ideas and collaboration, Maya realized they were standing at the brink of transformation, if only they could keep that momentum alive, and not allow the council to diminish their spirit. But just as new plans began to solidify, her phone buzzed in her pocket, alarming and insistent. A message from someone she hadn't heard from in a long time, sparking dread in her heart. What could this mean at such an essential moment? Maya hesitated, her hand instinctively reaching for her phone. She glanced at the screen, the name flashing like an unwelcome ghost from the past. Elena. Fear gripped her, twisting in her stomach. After years of silence, the mere sight of it sent shards of doubt through her newfound resolve. "Everything okay?" Jordan asked, her face marked with concern. With a shaky breath, Maya looked up, forcing a smile. "Yeah, just an old friend." But the words felt hollow. The energy of the room swirled around her, colorful laughter, bright ideas, the vivid sounds of creativity. But that message loomed like a storm on the horizon. What could Elena possibly want after all this time? She tried to shake it off, turning her attention back to the gathering. The crowd contributed ideas and stories, each voice adding a unique thread to their tapestry. People painted with their words, sharing dreams of bright murals and stories that lived in the colors they wanted to splash across their community. It was beautiful, contagious. As hands raised for attention, Carlos proposed a gigantic mural representing their collective journey. "Each of us can paint our dreams, our struggles, together on one wall," he exclaimed. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, exhilaration electrifying the air. Suddenly, Elena's message buzzed again, cutting through the joyous noise like a sharp blade. "Maya, I need to talk to you. It's important." Maya swallowed hard. Part of her was tempted to ignore it. Life had been gently rolling forward since she stepped into this new purpose. Why ruin it by revisiting old wounds? But another part, an anxious voice deep inside, wondered if she couldn't afford to let shadows linger. "Jordan, can you hold on a minute?" she asked, stepping aside as Jordan nodded, her face a mix of curiosity and understanding. Maya opened the message, reading the words that blended dread with urgency. "I can't go into detail here. Can we meet? There are things you need to know about your family." Her breath caught as the world around her faded into a muffled hum. Family. The mere mention sent chills racing down her spine. Memories flooded back, the warmth of childhood laughter, the whispers of stories, the silence when things turned dark. "Hey, everything all right?" Jordan's voice broke through the fog. Maya took a deep breath, her heart heavy with choices. I think I need to take this call. Something could be happening, something big." Jordan frowned, stepping closer. "You don't have to face anything alone, you know." Maya nodded, hugging the phone tightly in her palm. "I know. But sometimes, it's harder to share when the past is haunting you." The whispers and excitement surged around her, but all Maya could hear was her own heartbeat, matching the chaotic pulse of her thoughts. The room felt both connected and isolated, the chatter now a muted background as she weighed her options. Should she dig into a past she tried to escape, or shield herself in the vibrant present they were forging together? Her chest tightened. One choice could unravel everything she had built in this moment of hope. She had to decide. But would the truths Elena carried bring clarity or chaos? With resolve, Maya leaned in closer to the crowd, her heart urging her forward even as doubts clawed at her. "I'll be back," she whispered to Jordan before turning back to the buzz of voices, hoping to ground herself. But seconds later, as the voices enveloped her again, a different phone vibrated in her pocket, a warning or a reminder. She instinctively shifted, the weight of choices increasingly heavy. "Do I dare confront the past?" she whispered to herself. And just then, the doors swung open again, bringing with them whispers of change, drawing her outward, and she couldn't help but wonder, was this a blessing or a curse? Maya's heart thudded in her chest as she made her way to a quieter corner of the room, deliberately distancing herself from the infectious energy that now felt overwhelming. The laughter faded, replaced by the heavy weight of her own thoughts. She could almost feel Elena's urgency vibrating through time and space, tugging at past secrets she'd buried deep. She pulled up the message one more time, the screen illuminated in a bright glare against the dimly lit room. "Things you need to know about your family." The words cut through her defenses, igniting a simmering fear that had long been masked by hope. Family had always held power over her, the good and the bad tangled intricately like ivy around a forgotten tree. "Hey, you okay?" Jordan's voice brought her out of her reverie, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "You're looking a little pale. Want to grab some water?" Maya nodded, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Yeah, just I need a moment to think. You know how it is." "Sure," Jordan said, squeezing Maya's arm gently before walking away. Alone, Maya felt the familiar rush of memories overwhelm her moments with her parents, their smiles stitched with love, but also shadowed by the anger and disappointment that had driven them apart. The ache in her chest tightened. She remembered how Elena had always been a source of comfort during the tougher times, even as she disappeared from her life. But what could she possibly want now? It was hard to sense the danger in reopening those doors. They could lead to chaos. Or worse, what if the truths Elena held were things she was ready to confront? As if in response to her turmoil, the crowd erupted into cheerful laughter again, and Maya found herself trapped between two worlds. The vibrant promise of her present, filled with dreams and hopes, and the haunting echoes of her past, clamoring for her attention. Maya took a deep breath and glanced down at her phone again, her thumb hovering over the screen. "Elena, what do you mean about my family?" she whispered softly, half hoping for an answer from the universe itself. She knew she should be brave, that she had fought hard to build her new life. But the thought of facing her past felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, peering into a dark abyss. She could easily tumble down, and no part of her wanted that. Just then, Carlo's voice boomed through the air, calling everyone back to the meeting. "Come on, folks, let us put some paint on this big oil mural of ours." Maya felt a pull toward the laughter and creativity, the shared aspirations of her friends pulling her back from the edge. But the buzz of her phone again broke the reverie. The name flared on her screen with an almost magnetic force. What if this was it? What if Elena could give her pieces of the puzzle she'd been missing all along? What if, after all this time, there was a chance for healing? Okay, she breathed, a mix of determination and dread swirling around inside her. I'll do it. I'll meet her. As she moved back toward the crowd, a sense of resolve began to strengthen her steps. She would confront whatever truth Elena had to offer, and in doing so, she might redeem parts of herself she thought she'd forever lost. Jordan caught her gaze, and a knowing smile crept onto her face. You with us? Yeah, just processing some things, Maya replied, her eyes shining with new conviction. But as she threw herself into the moment, eager to paint dreams onto the mural that would tell their shared story, a chilling thought snaked into her mind. What if meeting Elena shattered everything she'd created here? With every stroke of color and every laugh shared, the walls of Maya's defense began to blur, and she realized that change was inevitable. The only question left was, would she be ready for what came next? And as she awaited Elena's response, the weight of transformation hung heavily in the air, leaving Maya to wonder, was stepping into her past the key to embracing her future? Maya stood among the vibrant swirl of colors as brushes scraped against canvas, the energy palpable, alive with possibility. But even in the euphoria of creativity, a nagging thought tugged at her heart. Elena's message loomed large in the background, demanding her attention. What secrets lay buried beneath those words? As moments shifted and morphed seamlessly, the community created a mural that painted the stories of their lives. Each stroke spoke of triumph, loss, and hope. Their dreams splashed across the wall, a tapestry of voices rising up together. The hall buzzed with laughter and purpose, but Maya was anchored to the flickering anxiety intensifying in her chest. She had stepped back into her past, but now, an urge to leap forward coursed through her veins. Let us take a break, Carlos called out, wiping paint from his forehead, and everyone pulled back, gathering in clusters, voices melding into a symphony of camaraderie. Maya's gaze drifted toward the mural, the colors vibrant against whispers of black and white detail, each hue telling a tale of resilience. In that blend of creation, hope flew high as birds in spring, but the shadows of her thoughts lurked, waiting in the corners of her mind. Hey, you all right? Jordan sidled up next to Maya, lifting an eyebrow in inquiry. Yeah, totally, Maya replied, though the words felt like sand, slipping through her fingers. Just a lot on my mind, but look at what we're creating. Jordan nodded, her eyes shining. It's beautiful, our stories united. With a deep breath, Maya left a ghost of hesitation behind. I think it's time I took control of my own story too, she said, more to herself than to Jordan, the words rolling off her tongue powerful and freeing. Let us embrace it, right? You're leading the charge here. Jordan responded, a contagious energy coursing through her. Maya's heart swelled at the assurance her friend radiated. Yeah, let us do this, Maya affirmed, resolve building like solid ground beneath her feet. She had fought to rise above her fears. Now it was time to confront them. Let us power through. Carlos shouted, gathering everyone again in a huddle, excitement electrifying the air around them. As they began to share laughs and stories again, Maya took one last glance at her phone, a small tremor echoing through her as she clicked on Elena's message. She squeezed her eyes shut and pressed her thumb against the screen, sending back a reply. I'll meet you. But let us do it in a public place. She took a deep breath to calm the wild beating of her heart. Opening her eyes, she flicked back to the joyful chaos around her. Maya stepped deeper into the fun, a brush in one hand and the taste of hope on her tongue. As the energy pulsed lively, laughter and creativity mingled, she realized this was community, standing together, ready to weave change. But as twilight serenaded the day, thoughts filled with shadows returned, and she stole a quiet moment to step outside for air. The cool evening breeze wrapped around her, mingling with a lingering sense of paint and laughter. She knew confronting Elena would unlock something. But could she face whatever revelations emerged from the secrets buried in their shared history? Why do we hesitate to speak our truths? She whispered to herself, the question darting like shooting stars through her mind. This wasn't just about her, but where her legacy would lead. Around the corner, a gentle tap on her shoulder startled her. It was Mrs. Rodriguez. Her smile tugged at Maya's heart. Thought I'd find you. You were incredible today. You've become a pillar, Maya. Thank you, but it's really us working together that's powerful, Maya replied, her cheeks warming. No. You're inspiring change. Your voice carries. The warmth of Mrs. Rodriguez's words enveloped her like a comforting embrace, fueling Maya's confidence. What next? She asked. After this mural? That's up to you, Querida. Your voice can echo far beyond paint on a wall. Maya narrowed her eyes thoughtfully. I know I've got to face the past. I've been hiding from it for too long. Don't seek forgiveness from those who don't deserve it. Find peace within yourself, Mrs. Rodriguez advised gently, yet firmly. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you, she murmured, with gratitude swelling in her heart. Just then, her phone buzzed again. Elena was awaiting her response. Maya steadied herself, ready to uncover the path before her. With each choice she made, she could craft a future painted in vivid roots, not overshadowed by pain. She returned to the mural, where laughter burst bright around her. With each brush of paint she added to the wall, she whispered her truths, memories of heartache interwoven with dreams, fabric softening against the jagged edges of fear. Every stroke brought her closer to unveiling her story, redefining it from the darkness lurking in the past to a radiant future where every voice counted, including her own. That night, the community gathered under soft light, sharing stories over plates of food, uniting generations as they laughed and danced together. Maya knew she was no longer alone. They had painted a new life in the colors of hope and solidarity. In that moment, Maya felt a revelation wash over her. A decision had been made. The truth would not scare her, it would empower her. Standing firm, she raised her glass during a toast, heart filled with gratitude. To community. To resilience. To embracing our truths. Cheers erupted, and Maya's heart soared. This was the end. It was merely the beginning. And as the night drifted on, enveloping them in warmth, she felt ready to meet the past head-on. The journey to change was solely theirs, but interconnected, an unwavering tapestry woven together in love, laughter, and hope. Maya smiled, knowing she was stepping into her future, not alone, but with an entire community beside her. Stand with her. Speak your truth. Find your voice too. And remember, this is just the beginning of their stories. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will uplift and inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this emotional journey. Share this video right away with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful transformation. You need to take action now. Show your true support and let us create a wave of change. Don't wait not even one more second to share.